Hi YouTube, it's Dylan, and today I'd like to talk to you about certain kinds of poetry, political poetry, and to do that I'm going to start out with a poem I wrote last year around this time, and it's called Your Country Doesn't Love You, and I'll explain it later. Your country doesn't love you in the lonely winter night. Does it hold you close and tight? Does it tell you it's all right when it's not even there with you on a lonely winter night? Your country doesn't love you. Has it ever left a note, a love letter that it wrote and put in your evening coat? When bills are all it sends you, has it ever left a note? Your country doesn't love you, and it doesn't even care if you're eaten by a bear or you're on junk in a lair. It never even thinks of you because it is not there. Alright, well, you're probably all thinking, Dylan, that's not a nice thing to say about your country. They'd probably care about your drug addictions or the fact you're on a bear. Well, not... Anyways, this was written during one of my bouts of severe anti-nationalism. I'm not a nationalist person to begin with, so I come and go through these things, generally depending on my mood. If I'm in a good mood, I probably don't even care about this or pay much attention. When I'm in a bad mood, I probably am not the kind of person you'd want to invite to a Yay Canada rally. Anyways, what I really wanted to discuss this about was political poetry, especially two poems that have been a major part of my day. The first one was on my iPod and is Carlos Andreas Gomez, More Than One Son. It's, as some of you may know, Carlos Andreas Gomez is a major slam poet. He's very much look at the bleeding sores of my country. The other poem I heard today, read, was Alfred Lord Tennyson's Charge of the Light Brigade. I'm sorry, just so you can see my iPod was on. So the combined combination of Carlos Andreas Gomez and the Charge of the Light Brigade really brought several of my issues with the entire idea of nationalism to the forefront. The problem I saw with Alfred Lord Tennyson was that his views of politics are something I don't agree with at all. The charge of the Light Brigade was not heroic. It was stupid. It was tragic and stupid. And he's writing this poem that says they're heroes. They're not. They're victims. Which, when you get right down to it, is all most political poetry is about. Victims. Especially Carlos Andreas Gomez. With him, it's more like America... There's something wrong about this. This is not how America should be. America should not be a place where evil prevails. We should be able to love who we want. We should be able to be who we are. We should not have any problems going down the highway and having racial slurs being thrown at us. And I agree with him. I agree with him. But I found him a bit too preachy. And again, this is probably me being the shallow, middle-class white boy, but that kind of political poetry doesn't necessarily agree with me. Because I know the world is messed up. I know America is the evil empire of our times. I'm not saying that I have sympathy for the terrorists. They're evil too. Evil is not a unified force. The point is, the main difference between me and Carlos Andreas Gomez is I don't really have any hope. I don't believe that as a whole, America can be saved. At least the way it is now. To me, the problem is not that the people who run America aren't doing enough for this. The problem is America is a major world power. And historically speaking, major world powers don't last long if they're good people. The Roman Empire subjugated hundreds, thousands of people. They destroyed the Temple of Jerusalem. If slam poets were around in 700 BC, they'd be writing stuff about how the Western imperialists attacked this Middle Eastern country and destroyed their place of worship. The British Empire, they basically created entire pseudosciences to prove that the people in the lands they were colonizing weren't actual humans. They were primitive. Their women were basically sex objects. Not that you can have sex with those sex objects, because that would be ruining the race. And of course, that led to all these issues we have now. My point is, the system is inherently corrupt. And I don't see how anyone can change that. I don't think the game's fixed. And if the game's fixed, I'm not sure I want to play. I admit I'm playing now. This is a very all-intensive game. And maybe you can play this game in a way where you prevent the next Hitler. But in the long run, I don't see how anything can change. Mankind is kept alive by bestial acts.